Hey guys, I'm Dylan Mendonça back with DylAcademy, and today we're doing Math Paper 3H from June 2011. Alright, so question 1A, this is just a calculator question. Really simple, there's nothing to explain, just put it all in your calculator and make sure you put these in brackets and this in brackets, so you do those before. So you first do the division, then you do 24.1 over that, then you take that answer and then you subtract 6.2 squared. Alright, so just put that on your calculator and remember to add the brackets where I told you to, and you're going to get an answer of 1.72666667, and that's your answer. And you have to write down all the figures on your calculator display. Now the next question, 1B, is asking you to put this in three significant figures. Now this is pretty simple. When you're putting in significant figures, you take the first three numbers, alright, so 1, 7, and 2, alright, and then what you do is you look at the fourth number. If the fourth number is 5 or above, this number gets rounded up. If it's below 5, this number stays the same, the number which the red arrow. So in this case, if we look at the fourth number, it's 6, and 6 is above 5, meaning this number gets rounded up 1. So it becomes 1.73. Okay, well this question is about polygons. Now, in this case it's an irregular pentagon because all the sides are not equal and the angles aren't equal. So there's a formula actually to find out the total, the total angle each of these angles will add up to in a polygon. And that formula is actually 180 multiplied by n minus 2. And n is the number of sides in the polygon or shape. Alright? So in this case, to find out the total angle that all these angles can add up to in this shape, we just substitute n as 5. So 180 times 5 minus 2, which is 180 times 3, which is 540 degrees. Sorry, that's a 50 there. Okay? So now that we know that all the angles in this polygon in a pentagon in general, should add up to 540 degrees, that means this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle which we're supposed to find out, which is x, should add up to 540 degrees. So x plus 84 plus 127 plus 114 plus 97 should be equal to 540 degrees. Now it's just basic algebra. So x plus 422 should be equal to 540. Subtract 422 on either side, you're going to get x equals 540 minus 422, which is 118 degrees. So this angle is 118 degrees. Factorization is the next question, 3a, and it's pretty much the simplest thing to do in math. So all you have to do in factorization is look at both terms and see what they have in common. If you look at w squared and 9w, what they have in common is the w, meaning both of them have the term w. So what you do is you take the w out, then you divide each term separately by the w. So w squared divided by w is just w, and negative 9w divided by w is just negative 9. So that is your factorized form. Okay, question 3b, again, very simple question. So they're just asking you to solve this, and it's just basic algebra. So all we want to do is get the x's on one side and the numbers on the other side. Now to do that, to get the numbers on one side, we're going to add 1 to both sides. Correct? So that this one and this one will cancel. Alright, and to get the x's on both sides, we're going to subtract 2x on both sides. This 2x's will cancel, and we have a negative 2x here. So what we're going to end up having is 5x minus 2x is equal to negative 7 plus 1. Alright, 5x, and now you just solve separately. So 5x minus 2x is 3x. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to divide both sides by 3 to get x alone and find out the value of x. So 3 and 3 will cancel to give me 1x. So 1x, or x, is equal to negative 6 divided by 3, which is negative 2. Okay, question 3C is just asking you to expand and simplify. It's really simple again. So when you're expanding, all you have to do is multiply each term by each other term. If you don't know what that means, I'll do arrows to show you how to multiply this out. So you just got to multiply each term by each other term. Sorry about that. Yeah, here you go. So all you have to do, we'll start with this term first. So y multiplied by y is y squared. Y multiplied by positive 3 is plus 3y. Minus 7, then we're going to deal with this side. So minus 7 multiplied by y, look at the first arrow. Minus 7 multiplied by y is negative 7y. And minus 7 multiplied by positive 3 is negative 21. Now all we have to do is just deal with this. So it becomes y squared plus 3y minus 7y is negative 4y minus 21. Alright, so question 4 is basically about this guy called Samath, and he has one glass of fruit juice with his breakfast. So he chooses these fruit juices at random. So there's either orange juice, there's either pineapple juice, or there's mango juice. Alright, 4A is asking you to find out the probability that he chooses mango juice. Now, it says in the question the probability that he chooses an orange juice is 0.6. The probability that he chooses a pineapple juice is 0.3. And they don't know what the probability that to choose a mango juice. They're asking you to find that. So we call that X. So now that we know that there's only 3 possibilities: orange juice, pineapple juice, and mango juice. Now probability, all it is just a fraction, and all probabilities will always add up to 1. So applying this idea, all we're going to say is that the probability of him picking an orange juice, plus the probability of him picking a pineapple juice, plus the probability of him picking a mango juice will be equal to 1. Alright? Now, simple algebra again. So 0.3 plus 0.6 is x plus 0.9 is equal to 1. Now subtract 0.9 on both sides. We're going to get x is equal to 1 minus 0.9, which is 0.1. So the probability of him picking mango juice is 0.1. Okay, question 4b says there's 30 days in April. And work out an estimate. Estimate is the key word for the number of days in April in which Samath chooses orange juice. So first of all, we have to decide the probability of him picking orange juice, and that's 0.6. If we put that in fraction terms, 6 out of 10, meaning out of 10 days, 6 days he'll pick orange juice, right? So to find out how much orange juice he'll pick in 30 days, all we have to do is multiply this fraction by 30. So we just take the probability and we multiply it by the number of days, 30. Alright, and then we'll get our answer. So if you just solve this, it actually becomes 180 divided by 10, and that just becomes 18. So out of the 30 days in April, 18 days he'll pick orange juice. Alright, question 5. It's really simple. You have to just show that this 5 over 6 minus 3 over 4 is equal to 1 over 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the left hand side and prove it to the right hand side. So 5 over 6 minus 3 over 4. Okay? So first of all, you can't just subtract these fractions because they don't have the same denominator. So what you need to do is you need to make a common denominator. Now how do you do this? Well, there's one method. It's called cross multiplication. So what you do in this method is you multiply each opposite denominator by each opposite numerator, and then you multiply the two denominators together, and you're going to get one whole fraction. So let's just do this. Let's deal with this first. So 4 multiplied by 5 is 20, and 6 multiplied by negative 3 is negative 18. And that is all over 6 multiplied by 4, which is 24. So in this way, you've actually developed it as one whole fraction. Now, if we simplify this, 20 minus 18 becomes 2. So it's 2 over 24. Now, if you notice in this fraction, we can divide both top numerator and bottom numerator by 2. Right? So, what we're going to get is 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 24 divided by 2 is 12. And as you notice, it corresponds with the right hand side, meaning you've proven it. Okay, question 6a is asking you to describe fully the single transformation which maps triangle P onto triangle Q. Now first of all, let's look at triangle P and triangle Q. They're the same size, they're the same shape relatively, They're both right angled 90 degrees triangles. And yeah, so they're pretty much the same thing. So it can't be enlargement, it can't be like making the triangle smaller, it could only be rotation or reflection, to be honest. And if you really look at the shape, like for example, this shape here, okay? If I was to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, it will form a shape like this, which is just like Q. Now, to be honest, I can't really explain this without seeing you in person, because it's something which you need to like use tracing paper or something like that to actually do. But in this case, it's actually rotation, because if you see, like you have to imagine this. You have to imagine me actually rotating this in this direction, 90 degrees. And what you're going to see is actually a shape like this being formed, which actually is like triangle Q. So we've established that it's rotation, right? And we've also established that it's rotation 90 degrees clockwise. Yeah? But when you describe rotation, you have to describe the center at which it's being rotated. Now, I can't really describe this to you on an iPad, because I need to see you face to face to do it, because it's hard to actually describe. You need tracing paper and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I try to post a link in the description below to help you out with this. But it's actually a rotation on 0, 0. Because if it's being rotated on this point, only then it'll form that shape. And I'll just post a link below. You'll understand it fully, because I need a paper or tracing paper or something like that to show it to you. So it's rotation 90 degrees clockwise on center 0, 0. Okay? Okay, question 6b. They're asking you to reflect the triangle Q on the line y equals to x. Okay, so first of all, what I recommend doing in this question is drawing the line y equals to x. And y equals to x looks something like this. Okay, label it y equals x. So think of y equals to x as a mirror. Now what happens when you reflect something on the line y equals to x? Actually, the points, right? The points, y and x coordinates, they actually switch over. So if you look at this point, it's actually, the point is 2, 5. This point over here is 2, 4. And this point over here is 4, 4. Right? So when you reflect it on the line y equals to x, what actually happens to the points is that these two switch. So the y coordinate goes to the x coordinate and the x coordinate goes to the y coordinate. So let's just draw that here. So let's deal with this one right here, this point here. It's 4, 4. The x and y coordinates will switch, so it'll stay the same. So that'll be our first point of the reflected triangle. Now let's look at this one here. It's 2, 5. So what happens when it's reflected is that the y will switch with the x, meaning the new coordinate will be 5, 2. And that is over here. Next, let's deal with this one. So it's 2, 4. So when it's reflected, it's going to become 4, 2. And there is your new triangle. And just call it R. Alright, question 7. It says the perimeter of a triangle is 90 centimeters. And the lengths of the sides are in the ratios 3:5:7. So you have to work out the length of the longest side of the triangle. Now to figure out the length, what we need to know is how much each ratio, by what scale factor it's being multiplied by. Now to find that, we need to find like the total addition of all the sides of the triangle, right? So that's 90, yeah? So all of these ratios should be multiplied by something, x, right, a scale factor, to give 90. So that means the total of all these ratios, which is 3 plus 5 plus 7, and that's 15. So 15 should be multiplied by a scale factor of x to give me a total of 90. Because technically, the total of all of these sides should be 90. So that means the total of their ratios multiplied by x should give me a 90. And we have to find out this x. So to find out this x, we divide both sides by 15. And we're going to get x is equal to 90 over 15, which is 6. So x is equal to 6. Alright? Now that we know that x is equal to 6, we can actually determine the length of the longest side. So the longest side should actually have the largest ratio, meaning the largest number. So it's 3:5:7. So 7 should obviously be the longest side. Now, it's 7 over 15, because there's 15 parts and there's 7 parts are of the longest side. So 7 over 15, and you have to multiply that by the scale factor. So 7 over 15 multiplied by, sorry, not 7 over 15. It's just 7 multiplied by 6. Because 7 is the largest amount and 6 is the scale factor by which each ratio is enlarged. So all you have to do is 7 multiplied by 6. And you're going to get an answer of 42. And so the length of the longest side is actually 42 centimeters. Okay, question 8. It's about sets. Now, in this case, I'm going to describe each set. So first of all, this squiggly little sign means that all the numbers possible in the entire full set, meaning in the whole question, how many numbers are possible, and these are stated here. A is odd numbers, so one set of odd numbers, and P is prime numbers. I hope you guys know what prime numbers are. Now, you got to list the members of the set of A, upside down U, P. Now, what is this upside down U? This upside down U basically means intersect, and it's basically what A and P have in common. So we got to first look at what numbers could be in A. So in A are odd numbers, right? But these odd numbers have to be within a range of this, right? Because that's the total set. Okay, so the odd numbers that could be in A could be 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Now the prime numbers in P could be 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. So those are the odd prime numbers possible. I hope you guys know what the prime numbers are. Prime numbers are basically numbers that are not divisible by anything other than themselves, and 0 and 1 do not count. Okay, so now just look at what they have in common, and those numbers that they have in common are actually 3, they have a 5 in common, they have a 7 in common, and they have an 11 in common. So that means that A intersect P is actually 3, 5, 7, and 11. So question 8.2 is actually asking you A, U, P. Now this U actually means union P. So again, I'm going to write down all of the possible numbers in A, and those are actually 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. And in P you have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Now A union P just means all the possible numbers that are possible in A as well as P. So if you look, those numbers are actually 2 is a possibility in either set, 3 is a possibility in either set, 5 is a possibility in either set, 7 is a possibility in either set, 9 is a possibility in either set, and 11 is a possibility in either set. So those are all the numbers in A union P. Alright, next question is about compound interest. So this woman, Ella, invested 8,000 for 3 years and at a rate of 5% per annum. So calculate the value of her investment at the end of 3 years. So now how compound interest works is that it actually takes the amount you actually have in the bank, and then it adds the percentage increase. So first of all, let's calculate it for the first year. So at the first year, she has 8,000 in the bank, and there's a 5% increase, meaning 5% interest is added to the amount she has. So 5% over 100 times 8,000, right? Because 5% over 100 times 8,000, and you'll get an answer of 400. So that means that 400 extra was added to 8,000, the amount she originally had in the bank. And so at the end of the first year, she'll have an amount of 8,400, because 400 plus 8,000. So now, at the end of the first year, she has 8,400. So in the second year, what's going to happen is that she's going to get 5 over 100 again, the percentage, multiplied by the amount she has in the bank, which is now 8,400. 400. And so that'll give you an answer of 420. Meaning now she's getting 420 added to the amount she has in the bank originally at the start of the second year, which is 8,400. And so she'll have 8,820. Now, the third year, again, she has a 5 over 100 interest, compound interest, multiplied by the amount she has in the bank, which is now 8,820. And so she'll receive an extra amount of 441. And that is added to her original amount, which she had at the start of the third year, which was 8820. And so, by the end of the third year, she'll have $9261 in her bank. So question 10 is just giving you a rule to work out the fare in dirhams for a taxi journey in Dubai. So asking you to find a formula for the fare in C dirhams for a journey of D kilometers, meaning this is the distance and the C is actually the fare in dirhams. So we have to find a formula for fare. So C is equal to, so let's deal with the first part. You multiply the number of kilometers traveled by D. So the number of kilometers or the distance D, you multiply it by 3, you multiply it by 3. So you take the distance, which is pretty much the number of kilometers. So you multiply that by 3, so you get 3D. Then you add 7 to your result, so you get plus 7. Then you divide this whole answer, not just 7, you divide the whole answer by 2. And that'll be your taxi fare in dirhams. So this is your formula. Okay, so thanks for watching, and please comment, rate and subscribe. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next part.